All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's shiur should be Le'ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dov HaKohen, and B'schus l'Refuah Shalema Bekarov, Mishalom ben Sarah Rachel, Miriam Basara, and Yair Yeshia ben Chaya Atara. Today, we are on page 111 in the Ora Vigdor, for those who are following along. And today we are coming on the seventh and final quality of only Hashem has that we are looking for in a person or a thing in order to have full trust in them. And we described already over the last couple of weeks how only Hashem possesses all these seven qualities, and only Hashem, even if you take each individual one, only Hashem harbors those at 100% capacity. And the seventh quality we're going to talk about over here, and again, this is to cement the first of the basic beliefs in the trust, in the Bitachon system, in order to have that full trust. Now, the seventh quality was Vashavi, of the seven qualities of Hashem that justify trusting in Him, is corresponding also with the fifth one. You're going to see in a second. She is bar etzlai, that it should become clear to a person ki yesh l'chol ha'avos sheba'olam hazeh, that all phenomena of this world, everything in this world that happens, me'etzem or mikra, whether their composition or their function, have gevul yedua, a set boundary, a limitation to their powers. What does that mean? When Hashem gives a capability to an individual, or an animal, or take for instance a piece of wood or steel, right? Each have different strengths, and it's just a max capacity that it has. So too a human being has a max capacity. An animal has a max capacity. Everything has what he calls a gevul, right? There's a boundary of where they can't go past that. What does that mean? And one cannot add or subtract from what Hashem decreed for it. What does that mean? That a person or a thing or any other animal can't change what Hashem already decreed for that specific task, call it, or that specific outcome. So take a person, for instance. If Hashem decreed that somebody should live till the ripe old age of 120, nobody in this world is going to be able to change that outcome, no matter how hard you try. No person, no animal, no nothing, right? And the same way, we can't add to our life. And you're going to see over here in a minute where Rav Av Miller talks about people who go running every single day to get exercise, because if they're healthy, they're going to live longer. And he laughs about it. And he says, not that it's wrong to run, not that it's wrong to do exercise. As a matter of fact, you should be doing exercise. But the idea in your mind should be very different. The idea in your mind should be that you should take care of your body by you're running, you're doing exercise. But this idea in your head that you have that if you do exercise and you keep a healthy lifestyle, you're going to live longer, that's something you should take out of your mind. You should keep in mind when you're running and stuff that you're doing things for your health, because that's what Hashem decreed. He wants you to, you should take care of yourself. And one cannot add or subtract from Hashem what He decreed, become musai in its quantity, its quality, uzmane, its time, or its place. Even the sand, he says, everything in the world has a set composition and it functions according to what Hashem's plan. So what did he say over here? He said that everything in this world has a place, has a time, has a max capacity, a least capacity. Everything has it's already spelled out for it, what it could do. No one can increase what Hashem decreed should be a small amount, and no one can decrease what Hashem decreed should be a large amount. No one can postpone that which Hashem decreed to come early, and one cannot advance on Hashem's decree what he should come later. Meaning, if Hashem wants you to be financially successful, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, or anyone else around you is trying, your best friend, your parents, your siblings, doesn't make a difference who. They can't make that happen faster. They can't make it happen slower. So if it's the enemy who's trying to hurt you and trying to kill your business, is trying to ruin your name so that you shouldn't be able to make money, they can't do it. You should just know, you have full confidence and comfort when your enemy comes against you and starts cursing you out and says, oh, you're never going to amount to anything. You could laugh in their face and say, it's not up to you, buddy. It isn't. You do your part, and Hashem is going to come with the outcome anyway, right? As long as we deserve it, Hashem is going to give it to us. No one else is going to be able to get involved in the outcome, and that's the point he's trying to make over here. And whatever seems to be something new that appeared by chance in this way of the world, this is something that was decreed with foreknowledge from the beginning. He takes an example over here. What does this mean? If Hashem really decreed everything and we can't change anything, so he asks over here, what's about all these inventions, right? A few thousand years ago, or even a couple hundred years ago, we didn't have wireless technology. Today we have wireless technology, or all kinds of inventions, right? Ever since we've had the modern revolution, there's so many, the industrial revolution, there's so many things that came to fruition only over the last 300 years, not even 200 years, right? There's so many things. The world has changed drastically in that 200 years. So what does this mean that Hashem is the one who made that happen? Clearly, it's someone else who invented it. And so that's what he's saying over here. You think that it's a person that made that happen, and that's wrong. Hashem created everything since Sheshish Yemei Bereshis. Everything has been here and will always be here. Only thing that changes is that he gives us the ability in his playbook, in the system of cause and effect. He allows for us in its due time that Hashem decrees to happen, that we should find these different things. We should be able to discover new materials, to be able to come up with new ideas and invent new kinds of products like wireless technology or whatever all the kind of inventions that we come across. But all these things are made out of materials that have been here forever. All these things have been here already since the day that God created the world. Hashem, when he built the world, he already knew what was going to happen. And he already put everything out there, and he took his time, and it's part of the playbook. And every single thing that happens, including our own lives, is part of a bigger playbook. We have our own lives, which is our own chapter, but it's only our chapter, because our chapter is a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of the entire world. We've been around already for thousands of years, and each one of us plays a role in that, what Hashem wants to happen. And he says over here, Rabbi Avigdor says, when people see the end result of the chain of cause and effect, they're impressed by its novelty because they don't understand that it's nothing but an elaborate combination of the cause that Hashem set in motion from the beginning. Like what he's explaining is that we see something new, like, wow, can you imagine someone invented something out of the box, something like that? And you have to understand that this was already invented when God created the world. God already knew this was going to happen. He put it out there, and he's only waiting for the right time to make sure that the masses see those kind of products. A person who doesn't understand the affairs of the world may think that the new cause that was just now invented is what brings about a difference in the result today, and their transformation from one state to another state. But the new cause, such as a new invention, is too weak, unkala, and insignificant to bring about any change or difference ba'atzma in the intrinsic substance of things. When you get into something, you say, wow, you know why I'm successful? You're not giving yourself credit. You're giving something, let's say a piece of technology, right? Say, oh, because of the computer, this is why I'm successful. Because without the computer, I would have been nothing. And that's the mistake what you're making. The mistake you're making is you think that the computer is what's making you successful, when in reality, Hashem wanted you to be successful. Whether you've been born in the 2000s or the 90s, or you've been born in the 900s, you would have been successful. That's what Hashem wanted. Clearly, there were wealthy people in the times of the Gemara. Clearly, there were wealthy people who don't have computers. I actually watched a podcast recently, and it was talking about a billionaire living in Borough Park who has a flip phone who never sends a text message. So it's clear that it's possible to get about your day without technology and still create masses of wealth. And that, again, if it's Hashem wants you to have that, you'll have that regardless of how you go about doing your hishtadlus. Now, every ear of grain he talks about has 30 kernels. He talks about this, that when you see a big fields out there, you think, wow, man created this. He says, no, think about this. There was one kernel. Hashem already created that kernel. Let's say corn, a cornfield, right? And when you planted that corn, that seed, that kernel, it grew into a stalk that had a few ears, that has hundreds of kernels all combined, and you replant those, and after a few seasons, you have a huge crop. You have acres and acres, hundreds of acres, if not thousands, of corn, right? It's actually probably one of the most widest produced crops in the United States is corn, just how it happens to be. So he goes into talking about that. But at the end of the day, the point we're trying to make over here is, in the seventh quality that Hashem possesses, is understand that Hashem is the one who creates every ability. Hashem is the one who makes things more or less, not you, not me, not your friend, or not your enemy. They can't add, they can't subtract. As much as you think that in face value you might see it, so it might hurt your business and you might lose money. But in reality, that's not lost money because Hashem wanted you to lose, because the person wanted you to lose the money. That's lost money because God wanted that exactly at that time also. Don't forget. The time and place is a big factor also. And so understand that when someone does something, don't blame them. We're going to see later in Shaar HaBitachon, when we the same way we've learned that a person who helps you out is just a messenger. Don't blame the person who comes and hurts you because he's also the messenger. Right? They're not the reason that you got hurt. If this person wouldn't have hurt you, it would have been somebody else. And that's what he's saying over here, is that nobody has the ability to hurt you or to make your life better without the decree of Hashem. Hashem creates a decree. And then he finds his way in the system of cause and effect to make those things happen that you should think that, oh, that's just natural. But us, that we're learning Bitachon, that we understand these things, we should always remember this is not natural. This is a nace. Every single day that things happen is a nace because that is what Hashem wanted to happen. You just see it as natural events, but it's so far beyond natural, so far beyond that. This concludes the seventh and final one of these qualities. And Hashem, tomorrow we're going to elaborate and start talking about the second of the, I believe it's 5 basic beliefs in order to build a better structure so that we should all have a stronger foundation in that Bitachon, in that trust in Hashem. Thank you everyone for joining us all here today, and I love you all.